No man's knowledge can go beyond his experience. John Locke. My friends, experience. You get it every day. Practice trading, following these charts. 10 to 15 minutes. That is all we ask. Let's go. We see stocks and bonds are up for the day. Gold and Bitcoin down. Now, let's jump into these charts. What do we see going on? Well, we had the S&P 500 rollover going down in the morning. Now, again, we're looking at our charts. We're looking at our Heiken Ashi candlesticks. And we went ahead and used the little tool that we have here on our TradingView charts, the prediction and measurement tools. The short position one, we entered that. How did we set our profit and loss bands? Well, it's in the training on the average true range. We'll put that at the end of today's programming. And you use over here the ATR, the average true range, which is based on the stock movement on the prior 14 days, the average range during the day. And you can see by that red number, 725, that's what we set it at, 725 ticks or $7.25. That is what we put in for our loss band. That is 1.85%, hoping to gain 3.70%. We went ahead and jumped into that. We'll see how that works for us moving forward. Up for the day, 0.38% overall. So we'll see how things continue to transition. That is where we are. We look at the 2-day. Where is it? The 2-day, again, drawing a red down candle. We're in the red on the STC and have been for a while. The weekly is above the 200 EMA. We have a bit of a week where we've got some indecision with that red spinning top. Now again, you don't have to take that trade with the STC on the weekly going up and with that spinning top and some indecision. We went ahead and pulled the trigger on that practice trade because there's something to learn here. We bounced off the 200 EMA on that half-day chart. We'll see which way that goes. We do the same thing because we had the STC go from green to red. We're below the 200 EMA. We did the same thing on the NASDAQ 100. Basically the same kind of setup. We see that the 2-day is also negative on the STC. We have a red down candle forming. We jumped in there. We're below the 200 EMA. And not as much indecision because it's a bigger candlestick that we see there, red. And of course, we're still green on the STC on the weekly too. When I was doing the question and answer session day for the Patreon members, one thing we talked about is we're waiting to really see what happens with stocks as we move on through September into October. And again, what's going to happen with the war? What's going to happen with inflation? We saw what those inflation reports did earlier in the week. We'll see as we move forward. If we go below this 200 EMA on the weekly chart, we're definitely back into bear territory. We touched on it before back in June. We'll see how that transitions and continues to move ahead. What about 20-year bonds? Where are we there? Up a little bit for the day, 0.34%. Of course, I know some of you cashed out there at about 2.56%. We just went ahead and kept running it because that's where we set our profit bands. We'll see how that plays out for us, see if things continue to go up and take that profit away, or if things bounce back down like they did earlier and give us the ability to capture all of it. Only problem that we have here, of course, is look what happened in the afternoon. We went from red to green. That's typically where we stop things, at least there. So we'll look and see how things start off in the morning and determine whether or not we should cut that short. We could go ahead and cut it short now. I don't at all advise against doing that, but we'll keep an eye and we'll see how things continue to move in these ever interesting markets. We look at where things are on the 2-day. That's still in the red, my friend, still well below the 200 EMA, well below the 200 EMA on the weekly chart also. And see, it's just gone from green to red. So we got that going for us, which again would cause me to play it out maybe a little longer. We'll see. Now, we're going to leave bonds. We're going to go to gold. And what do we see gold doing? Well, in fact, gold trying to push, well, let's start not on the weekly, but on the half day. You'll see what gold did. It also went from green to red on the STC. We initiated that trade in the morning on gold. Gold's below the 200 EMA on that weekly chart, down for the day, 0.38%. On the 2-day chart, it's in the red also, below the 200 EMA, red candle forming too. And what about the weekly? The weekly also trying to push on through. So we'll see if gold's going strong and hard into the paint there. But we went ahead and initiated that also. Sometimes you got a lot going on. Other times you don't. We did today. What about Bitcoin? Where is it? Well, Bitcoin was down for the day, 1.70%. And of course, as we look at things, you can, let me see if I can focus this in a little better for you. We are not getting all the readings we're supposed to here. Well, that's the reason I was not. There we are. Okay. Let me stretch this out a little for us. Okay, here's where we are on Bitcoin. We are below the 200 EMA. We have 2 down days in a row. Things are green on the STC, but that wouldn't cause us to jump into anything. Why? Of course, because we're below the 200 EMA. And of course, Bitcoin has been sliding sideways over and over again for quite a while. We've tapped that bottom that we can see on this 2-day chart a couple of times, and particularly on the weekly, you can see where it has tapped that bottom a couple of times too. This week is a green spinning top, like I said, overall for the day down 1.70%. So we're hoping that Bitcoin's going to find a bottom here and start seeing some strong up movements. Particularly if we look at that 24-hour-a-day chart, we can see where we are on the weekly. We want to go above that 200 EMA. And of course, on that 2-day chart, same thing. We're still below that. And of course, on this half day, we have ranged back below it again. So we'll continue to watch, wait and see as these things sort out. Lots of stuff going on. Let's see how these trades that we jumped into, practice trades, let's see how they go. See what we need to do with the S&P and the Qs. See if this trade on TLT is going to work our way or not. And then what gold's going to do for us. That's where we are, folks. Appreciate you being with us. Patreon members, that Patreon Q&A going out to you in just a minute. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.